Okay, this video is, do we need books? Nowadays, people are distracted, of course, by TV, cell phones, internet, social media. There's very few people who read novels, who read any type of long-form writing. There's not many in-person, walk-in bookstores still standing. Barnes & Nobles is the only really big chain that I'm aware of. Half-price books, is in that category. There's a lot of small mom-and-pop bookstores, a lot of used bookstores, but there's really far fewer than there were when I was young. For example, Borders bookstore used to be a big place to go to. Also, the libraries used to be a bigger part of life than they seem to be now. I've gone to some of the libraries. I see a lot of audiobooks at the libraries, and they've almost downstaffed a little bit. And libraries tend to be run by stupid people. It would be really nice if there was some meritocracy in libraries. I've been to quite a few libraries, and I run into so much stupidity. There should be somebody who loves books and who loves education should be running those places, not all these kind of idiots that I've run into. Book publishers are not doing well because Amazon controls the majority of book sales, and there's not that many bookstores to sell to, so they're going to have to kiss butt to Barnes and Nobles. It doesn't make their life that easy, and what this does is it makes it harder for a controversial author to write a book. You could write them on Amazon, and Amazon will let you write the book, but it's definitely not going to promote something like that. But at least it's good that it exists. So what else do I see happening? A nice thing about Amazon's got a giant selection. So if you're looking for some rare book, you can often find it there. A lot more books are going to electronic books, and people like them because they're very cheap. And, the average person carries their cell phone with them all the time. I don't carry a cell phone. I hate cell phones. I had to get one because I got divorced, but I don't like them. So they like their cell phones or tablets or something for reading the books, which I don't like, but it makes the books cheaper. I guess you could save a good page when you come to it. We haven't really had a large reading public that long, only since around the late 1700s. Before that, there were, geniuses like Schopenhauer who could read in 5 languages, and the books tended to be written in Latin. There weren't even that many books in the Middle Ages. In the Renaissance, they especially went back to the classical books of the ancient Greeks and Romans. Getting back to current times, 1980s was a good decade for books on tape. I used to always listen to books on tape in a car. And then 1990s, books on CD. Ebooks sort of came along around the year 2000, real cheap. I've always hated them. I still don't like them. Paper books, they can last a long time, like hundreds of years. Then you got to reprint them or copy them. Average lifespan of a CD or DVD is only about 2 to 5 years. They end up I used to have an audio CD collection when I was a young guy. I thought it would last forever, but it's almost all gone now. Average lifespan of a hard drive is about 5-10 years. Magnetic tape, 10 to 15 years. But what I worry most about is anything electronic can easily be deleted. So whenever a author becomes controversial or doesn't go with political correctness, they could delete them from the internet. They could delete them from the video channels on the internet, the video sites on the internet. They could delete them from the internet bookstores. There's 2 famous songs, Onward Christian Soldiers of John McCormack and We Are Not Afraid Anymore by Kanye West. And those, you can't find them on the common video channels on the internet anymore. And I'm afraid that more and more books are going to be deleted. What I've seen, because I've studied a lot of historically famous people, and when somebody historically famous pisses off political correctness, they'll often delete them from Wikipedia, try to get them fired from their jobs. You won't be able to find their books. So there really is a worldwide, global, billionaire pervert controlled, or at least promoted sponsoring of books and publications. I have seen this. Okay, I've seen books removed from bookstores because the author pisses people off. And so, it's a big disincentive to publish controversial stuff. But the controversial stuff a lot of times is the best books. So what am I saying with all this? I'm saying that, yes, I think it's good to own a hard copy of a book because that way it can't be deleted. And I also think, a really rich person, if you don't know what to do with your life, a very good thing you could do for the world and for the future of the world would be to keep a very big library of paper books because that way they can't be deleted. And that way, when civilization starts to improve again, they take the fluoride out of the water and all these other chemicals in the processed food and whatnot, and IQs start going up again. There's going to be smart people around who want to read these books. So, and in the meantime, if anybody wants to keep their intelligence, you should always be, reading. Have a little table in the bathroom, listen to audiobooks in your car, because you'll maintain a high level vocabulary and skill at speaking. You'll be articulate. What I've seen is a lot of people can pretend to be articulate when they're just conversing about familiar topics, but you can really see if a person's articulate or not when they have a more sophisticated conversation or they have to read something out loud. And in my experience, there's not that many people, it's a small percentage of the population that can read fluently on a wide variety of topics. And, we need intellectuals, people that are reasonably well educated, that can support good things like Christianity and freedom and free speech if we're going to maintain a free speech and a polite, friendly society. So anyways, I think we do need to keep paper books around, and I think we should not have a monopoly of books all at one place. I think it's better for the world. I wish there was competition in selling books on the internet. That way, each place would keep on trying to do good things out of competition rather than a monopoly where there's not that much incentive. So anyways, I hope that education and knowledge will continue to increase. So I do think we need books.